Deuteronomy chapter 5 and verse 16. And we're looking at the principles of the covenant that we call the Ten Commandments. And the fifth commandment is possibly one of the most well known. And it goes like this: Honour your father and your mother as the Lord your God has commanded you, that your days may be long, and that it may be well with you in the land which the Lord your God is giving you. And as the New Testament reminds us, this is the first command with a promise. If you do this, you will live well, you will prosper in the land, and you'll live a long time. That's what it seems to say, doesn't it? But what about the first bit? You know, we live in a very curious time when successive government heads will remind us solemnly that the family is the building blocks of a stable society, at the same time as offering alternative family arrangements and civil partnerships, and saying, well, we've got to be fair to these minority groups. And in the very moment of announcing, yes, we need family values, we're destroying it. And this is a very strong and simple statement of a gender mix that is that works for the society. Honour your father and your mother. Here they are together. And even the geography of the human body should remind you that it takes two to make a baby. Honour for our fathers and our mothers is an essential building block for the stability and the health of all society. That's the claim of the Bible in this point. And if the young are constantly at war with the old, then those foundations will be destroyed, will be undermined. And if there's a different understanding of what family looks like, then the covenant principle that is engendered here will equally be undermined. Now, if you look at Ephesians chapter 6 verse 2, Paul repeats this command, as I said, pointing out that it has a promise attached to it, that your days may be long. The opposite of that is really summed up in the statement, rebellion is costly. What you do with a principle like this, as with all the principles of the Old Testament covenant, what you do with it will govern what happens, the consequences. There are always consequences. And what you put in, what you sow, is what you are going to reap. If you sow apple seeds, you're going to reap a crop of apples. And if you sow a stability based upon family, based upon mutual commitment, based upon the Trinity, based upon interrelated living together, then you will sow stability. And if not, not. Okay? Rebellion is costly, and many have paid a high price, personally, for their rebellion against their own parents. And kids, I'm talking to you now. We're all in that situation, aren't we? We've all experienced what it's like when you rebel against something that's laid down. In a sense, it's part of our culture. It's part of the way we grow and develop and kick our heels and learn to be by ourselves. But if we neglect the principle, then we face the consequences. So the principle is set. Sometimes you get the idea that people want to negotiate. They want to not just challenge, but try and find a way around it. W.C. Fields, the comedian, was found in his dressing room reading the Bible. They said, "What are you doing?" They thought he was an atheist. And he said, "I'm looking for loopholes." And it's what we do, isn't it? We try and find our way around it. In a sense, in an important sense, you can't break the Ten Commandments. You can only break yourself on them, because they are part of the fabric of the way that God has created things. They're not just 10 suggestions. They're not just 10 arbitrary rules. They're the fabric of the way that we live. And more than any, almost, the fifth commandment is a principle on which we build and are developed and empowered to live full and valuable lives, or not. or we break ourselves upon them, and we find ourselves in a society where kids go feral, where parents evade their responsibility, where there's no sense of mutuality, where there's a lack of respect in both directions. And we see it where we give up our right to raise our children to the schools, and then watch as the schools, the principles, the educational principles are changed and altered, where we give up our right to love in a biblical way. Well, we reap the consequences. But here is the principle. It's not a legalism. It's a powerful family principle of life. Hear it, O Israel. God bless you today.